build a better world where people are self-fulfilled as individuals and play a constructive role in the society. But in my mind, education should be given from one's heart, and education should be received by the stakeholders within their heart. Without that, education is not effective as it is happening in the formal and the informal education system of many parts of the world. The word fundamentals is used in scouting to refer to the basic elements upon which the unity of the movement rests, that is the purpose, principles and methods. Thus, while scouting takes place, many different forms adapted to the needs of each society. The fundamentals are the common denominators that bind the movement throughout the world. Moreover, scouting is defined as an educational movement. Education has several directions in scouting, all of them at the same level of importance. That is learning by doing, scouting action for the environment, self-education, the pedagogy of self-commitment. Life in a group and indirect education. And this basic management course is also an indirect education that we are going to pursue within these few days. After the inception of the scouting in the 20th century, in the early part of the 20th century, the movement has sometimes taken part in social movements such as civil rights struggle in American South and in nationalist resistance movement in India. Scouting has been a facet of culture during most of the 20th century in many countries. The fundamental principles of Scout movement are referred to as duty to God, duty to others, and duty to self. In the present, Scouts all over the world are involved in activities covering a multitude of domains, many of them specific to certain countries. Some of these activities the Scouts perform, as I understand, protection of the environment, health preservation, community service, human rights and personal development. In order to carry out these activities successfully, Scouts need more taste of knowledge about basic management and personal development. One of the important components of basic management is leadership. I would hasten to add, in this respect, 10 common leadership and management mistakes regarding which all of you must be aware of. First one, not providing feedback. A leader often provides feedback. Not taking time for your team. Being too, within quote, hands-off. That is, many leaders want to avoid micromanagement. Being too friendly. Failing to define goals. Misunderstanding motivation. Hurrying recruitment, no walking the walk, not delegating power, and misunderstanding your role. Strategic management, on the other hand, as a discipline of basic management, is often described as involving two major processes: formulation and implementation of strategy. In fact, strategic decisions are based on insights from environmental assessment and are responses to the following environmental questions. What is the organization's goals and objectives? What is the target member of the organization's functioning for attaining its goals and objectives? What is the geographic scope of the organization? What differentiates the organization from the others? What skill and capabilities should be developed within the organization? What are the important opportunities and risks of the organization. How can the organization grow, and how can the organization generate more value for its members. In fact, the requirements for strategic learning are personal responsibility, self-reliance, and mastery. Secondly, mental model with a clear mindset, which is very often not found. Shared vision, that is the sense of collective spirit of function for having shared vision. Deep learning and system trusting. Resource management is another important component of basic management studies. In organizational studies, resource management is the efficient and effective deployment of an organization's resources when they are needed. A dimension of development is also included in the resource management. While change management is an approach to transitioning individuals, teams and organizations to a desired future state. Choosing what changes to implement the following major factors needed to be considered in change management. Number one, levels, goals and strategy. Secondly, measurement of systems. Thirdly, sequence steps. And lastly, implementation of organizational change. I will just refer to Peter Drucker, who was a prolific management expert. He coined this phrase within quote, "An age of discontinuity is to describe what's changed disrupt lives." He identified 4 sources of discontinuity: new technology, globalization, cultural pluralism, and knowledge capital. We are all facing this problem in the present century. So far as scouting movement is concerned, event management has a special place in the study of basic management. Event management is the application of project management to the creation and development of large-scale events such as festivals, conferences, ceremonies, conventions, etc. And as line managers and supervisors in scout movement, you are responsible for the health and safety of your team. And this includes ensuring that they are not affected by work related to stressors impact. So it is important that you are aware of the good management practices and that you develop your management skills. It is also important that you recognize the signs of stress and know what support to give team members who may be suffering from stress. Some top self-care strategies for overall stress reduction may be mentioned as follows. Maintain social support. Secondly, find hobbies. Thirdly, keep your mind sharp. And lastly, process your emotions. Time management is an important element in organization's proper time functioning. And it includes creation of an environment conducive to effectiveness. Secondly, carrying out activities around those priorities. Thirdly, setting of priorities. Fourthly, related process of reduction of time spent. And lastly, incentives to modify behavior to ensure compliance with time-related deadlines. Thus, the activities of time management are prioritized, organized, streamlined, economized, and contribute. Relationship to skill is also an essential ingredient of basic management studies. In this respect, the basic skills which are essential for building relations are communication, conflict resolution, knowledge partner, life skills, self-management and stress management. I would like to mention before the participants and delegates the words of Robert Baden-Powell, your founder, who is quote, "Here there lies the most important aim in scout training, that is to educate, not to instruct, mind you, but to educate. That is to draw out of the scout to learn for himself, for his own desire, the things that tend to build up character in him. When you lose money, you don't lose anything. When you lose health, you lose something. But if you lose your character, you lose everything. And that is the crisis of the present century." May I conclude by echoing the last message of founder Robert Baden-Powell to 28,000 scouts present at a jamboree in Holland in 1937. Quote, "I think that God blessed us in the world to let us be happy and taste life. Happiness comes neither from wealth, nor from brilliant success in one's career, nor from one's self-esteem. You make a big step forward to happiness by keeping a sound and vigorous body while you are children, so that you can be useful to others and live happy when you become parents. But the true road to happiness is to give it to others." And as the scouting seeks to prepare each of your person to make a positive contribution to deliver his or her society as a responsible citizen at the local, national and international levels, I hope that the knowledge the participants and delegates will acquire from the course would help them to contribute to the society to the best of their ability in the local, national and international level. Forgive my ignorance. Namaskar.